You only go around one time in this life.
Oh, love must be a kind of blind love.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbria DeÁnne, and welcome to the Story Beyond My Songs Viewer's Choice Update, where each week I shine a spotlight and tell you the full stories on the most viewed legacy shorts that touched your hearts, sparked your memories, and got the most love from you, the viewers. This week, your views chose powerful tributes to four unforgettable icons of soul. The OJ's Ship Ahoy, the soul voyage that changed music. Bernie Mac Day, why Chicago honors the king of comedy on November 14th. Ray Charles's Georgia on My Mind hits #1, despite the controversy. And honoring Terry Buzzy Johnson, his first heavenly birthday. These are your choices. These are your picks. So if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I upload content. And without further ado, let's get into the moments that made last week so special. On November 10th, 1973, the OJ set sail on a musical voyage that would change the tide of soul music forever. Their masterpiece, Ship Ahoy, was released on Philadelphia International Records, a record that didn't just entertain, it educated and elevated. Produced by the legendary Gamble and Huff, Ship Ahoy was more than an album. It was a message wrapped in melody. It told stories of struggle, survival, and spirit, stories that mirrored the Black experience in America. The title track, Ship Ahoy, set the tone, haunting and powerful. It echoed the cries of our ancestors, a musical reflection on the Middle Passage and the horrors of slavery. Few albums dared to speak so boldly in 1973. Then came For the Love of Money, a funky bass-driven anthem that cut straight to the core of greed and temptation. That unforgettable opening line, money, 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 became more than a hook. It was a warning. And behind that iconic opening stood a young genius. His name was Anthony Jackson. Just 20 years old at the time, he created one of the most recognizable bass lines in music history. His playing on For the Love of Money was so innovative, so defining, that he earned a co-writing credit for the song, a rare honor for a session musician in that era. His six-string bass thundered with rhythm, intelligence, and soul. That line didn't just introduce the song, it made the song unforgettable. On October 19th, 2025, Anthony Jackson passed away at the age of 73, a true pioneer and forever a part of the heartbeat of Ship Ahoy. May he rest in heavenly peace. Riding the waves of its bold themes, the album lifted spirits with Put Your Hands Together, reminding listeners to push through, praise through, and stay united through it all. The album entered Billboard on November 10th, 1973, climbing to number 11 overall and soaring to number 1 on the Black Albums chart. It became the Billboard R&B Album of the Year in 1974 and went platinum decades later, proving its message never faded. From the dock of 1973 to the shores of today, Ship Ahoy remains one of the greatest vessels ever launched in the sea of soul music.
As long as you're happy, you only go around one time in this life.
Today, November 14th, is Bernie Mac Day in Chicago, and his legacy still stands tall in the Windy City. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough on October 5th, 1957, on Chicago's South Side, Bernie Mac grew up from humble beginnings into a powerhouse of comedy. From the Cotton Club to the Def Comedy Jam stage to the Bernie Mac Show to unforgettable film roles in the original Kings of Comedy, Ocean's 11, and more, Bernie was one of a kind. He wasn't just funny, he wasn't just bold, He was Chicago, raw, real, and full of heart. After Bernie Mac passed away in 2008, the city felt that loss deeply, so deeply that Chicago wanted to officially honor the man who gave so much joy to the world and never forgot where he came from. To celebrate his life, his contributions, and his impact on the community, on November 14th, 2008, the city of Chicago officially recognized Bernie Mac's legacy with a proclamation honoring his career, his philanthropy, and his inspiration to future generations. The day became a way for the city to say, "We see you, we thank you, and we will never forget you." Bernie always brought Chicago with him, in his comedy, in his storytelling, in his honesty, whether you liked it or not. He spoke our language. He carried our neighborhoods in his voice. He once said, "I'm from the south side of Chicago. I've made it. You can make it." Bernie Mac Day isn't just about remembering a superstar. It's about celebrating a man who embodied resilience, family, community, and truth. Every year, fans, family, friends, and Chicagoans come together to honor Bernie's legacy. Comedy shows, tribute events, community gatherings, and moments of reflection on the laughter he gave us all. The Bernie Mac Foundation continues his work, supporting research and awareness for sarcoidosis, the illness Bernie battled privately for years. So on November 14th, we celebrate the man who made us laugh until we cried, and maybe peed a little. A man whose voice echoes through every comedy stage, and a Chicago legend whose presence will always remain strong. Happy Bernie Mac Day, November 14th. Rest in heavenly peace, dear friend. We love you, we miss you, and like you always said, I ain't scared of you. Now wait, it's not motherfucker. Okay, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. No, it's not that. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. There you go. We miss you, Bernie.
My Georgia, oh Georgia.
November 14th, 1960, Ray Charles took the world by storm when Georgia on My Mind hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song became one of his most iconic performances, emotional, soulful, and timeless. What many don't know is that the song carried controversy. At the time, Ray Charles was banned from performing in Georgia after he refused to play for a segregated audience earlier that year. His stand for dignity and civil rights put him at odds with state officials. Yet, despite the ban, his voice rose above it all. Georgia on My Mind became a nationwide hit, and years later, the state lifted the ban and crowned it their official state song in 1979. A song born in conflict became a symbol of unity. Ray Charles made history, and he did it his way. In 1960, Ray Charles made history with his soulful recording of Georgia on My Mind. In 1961, Ray Charles found himself in the middle of a major controversy in Georgia. He had been booked to perform in Augusta, but once he learned that the audience would be segregated, white patrons in one section and black patrons in another, Ray made a bold and courageous decision. He refused to play. He walked away from the show, choosing dignity over dollars and equality over expectation. The promoters quickly sued him for breach of contract, and Ray was later fined in court. That part of the story is documented. Over the years, the tale grew into the dramatic idea that Ray Charles had been banned for life from the entire state of Georgia. But historians and journalists who dug into the files found no evidence of a formal statewide lifetime ban. No law, no legislative order. What Ray did face was the social and legal backlash that came with standing up to segregation in the early 1960s. Still, he did it his way. And the story didn't end there. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Ray's star only rose higher. His voice, his artistry, and his refusal to compromise became part of his legend. Slowly, the state of Georgia began to reconsider its relationship with him. Then in 1979, something extraordinary happened. Ray Charles was invited to perform Georgia on My Mind before the Georgia General Assembly. It was a powerful, emotional moment. Lawmakers standing, applauding, honoring a man who had once been punished for demanding fairness. Shortly after that, Governor George Busby signed a bill into law naming Ray Charles's rendition of Georgia on My Mind the official state song of Georgia. What began as controversy became reconciliation. A state that had once challenged him publicly now honored him publicly. So today, we look back on Georgia on My Mind reaching number one. It's not just about a hit record. It's about courage. It's about integrity. It's about an artist who stood up for what was right and a state that eventually acknowledged his brilliance. Ray Charles didn't just sing Georgia's song. He transformed it.
My love must be a kind of love.
There's something about a voice that can melt time, a voice that carries tenderness, harmony, and heart. And few voices did that like Terry Buzzy Johnson of the Flamingos. Born on November 12, 1935 in Baltimore, Maryland, this guy grew up surrounded by rhythm and harmony. Before the spotlight found him, he was already shaping his sound, a smooth tenor that could glide effortlessly through melodies and bring songs to life. When he joined the Flamingos in the 1950s, he brought not just his voice, but his vision. He became one of their chief arrangers and songwriters, crafting those lush floating harmonies that made I Only Have Eyes for You an immortal classic. That 1959 masterpiece wasn't just a hit, it was an atmosphere, a feeling suspended in time. The soft doo-bop shabop harmonies, the echoing falsettos, and the dreamlike production all carried Buzzy's creative touch. He departed this world a little over a month ago on October 8th, 2025. So today, we honor Isaiah Terry Buzzy Johnson on his first heavenly birthday. When the Flamingos recorded I Only Have Eyes for You in 1959, the world heard something transcendent, a soaring falsetto, the shimmering harmonies, the echoing dreamscape of a love song, all part of Buzzy's arrangement and musical vision. And yet, it was not just about the records. Terry had a simple mission: to make people happy. He once said, I love it when I walk on that stage. I become another person. I know my audiences, and I know what to do to make them smile and how to make them happy. Who doesn't like to make people happy? That quote reveals the man behind the velvet voice: generous, attentive, joyful. On this first heavenly birthday after his passing, we remember the sparkle in his eyes when he stood on stage and the kindness in his heart when he listened to a fan's requests. We remember the joy he carried and the legacy of melodies he left behind. Though he has stepped beyond the spotlight, his music still glides across time. His contributions as singer, arranger, producer continue to ripple through generations of artists and listeners. To mark his first heavenly birthday is to acknowledge that his voice still lives, still comforts, still makes us smile. So today, we celebrate Terry Buzzy Johnson. We lift our voices in gratitude, we share his songs, and we hold his memory in a place of love and light. Happy heavenly birthday, Buzzy. And there you have it, folks. Last week's Most Loved Stories now told in full for you to relive, remember, and cherish. If you enjoyed these moments, don't forget you can catch my weekly shorts right here on Barbria DeÁnne to vote with your views on next week's picks. And for deeper dives and full stories, make sure you subscribe to the Story Beyond My Song channel or become a member of this channel to view upcoming stories and classic songs where the music lives on in more than just a memory. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share for more stories beyond the legends that have shaped our lives. Until next time, keep the music alive by checking out this next video. Bye.